last film we're going to review today, again, this is not one that many of us have seen. In fact, I think it's only Scott, you've seen this. And it's got a very, very long title, which I'm going to have to read off here. The Tunnel to Summer, The Exit of Goodbyes. That's a mouthful of a film. Scott, do you want to introduce this to us?
Sure. So, The Tunnel to Summer, The Exit of Goodbyes is the latest Japanese anime feature to hit the big screens. Here's a clip.
何ここ中と外で時間の隅がまるで違うトンネルか遠野くん
何
私と手を組まない私も欲しいものがあるの遠野くんにも欲しいものがある目的が同じなら二人でこのトンネルを攻略した方が何かと都合がいいでしょ
So, this film was directed by a guy called Tomohisa Taguchi, who is a relatively new director. On his IMDb, he's done a little bit of TV shows. He's done some episodes of Digimon that you might have heard of, and some films that I don't know if many people have heard of. I certainly haven't. But based on this, I think this guy has a big future. It is a story that is based about a schoolboy called Kaoru, and there's a new girl in school called Anzu. And this boy, one day, falls down a hill and finds a tunnel. And within this tunnel is magical properties, let's say, where if you enter the tunnel, then time passes differently in the outside world. So if you've seen Interstellar, there's a particular scene on a planet where time works differently outside the ship and inside the ship. Same idea here. So I can't remember the exact time frames, but just as an example, if he was inside the tunnel for 3 seconds, outside the tunnel, 10 seconds have went by. That sort of thing. And so this leads to Kaoru and Anzu testing out the capabilities of this tunnel and the properties that they can use it for. They think that perhaps, based on a legend, that within this tunnel could hold properties that could make you find whatever your heart desires, essentially. And whether that's true or not is something that these guys have to decide if they can experiment on. Because the more time they spend in the tunnel, obviously time goes past in the real world. So they've only got a limited amount of time that they can spend searching in the tunnel without a lot of time going past. For example, earlier on the film, Kaoru, when he goes into the tunnel, later he comes out, his dad is like, "Where have you been? You've been gone for a week." He only thought he was there for a few minutes. So they've got to play about with this. As with a lot of anime films, the animation style was very impressive. I thought the score and the soundtrack for this was delightful. There's a lot of sort of quirky music in this film. And the voice talent I thought was great. I saw it in the original Japanese with subtitles, but there's so much inflections in their voices that make them so endearing, even though I didn't speak the language. I'm not sure if this film will get a sequel, but the way it ended made me very curious. There's a sort of an interesting moral position that the film takes towards the end of the film, which made me question, I'm not sure if that's a right thing to be leaving us with or not. And it made me sort of imagine in my own head what kind of sequel I would make and kind of storylines I could do with this premise. And I went to this with a friend of mine who's obsessed with Japanese animation, Ewan. I'm sure he'll be listening. He likes when I talk about the Japanese films. And he loved it as well. He thought it was great. And for me, it's not quite as good as Suzume, which we got earlier this year, but it's very close.
Okay.
Love Suzume, yeah.
And which cinema chain was this with? Because I haven't seen this one.
So I saw this in Cineworld, and it was getting an extremely limited showing. I actually thought I was going to miss it when I was on holiday, because it was showing for like a couple of days when I was away. And when I came back, it was actually my friend Ewan who said, oh, Scott, they're showing it again tonight. And it's like one showing. So I don't think you'll find it in many cinemas.
Particularly not at the moment, which are packed out with Barbara
Well, exactly. Yeah. Definitely not now.
Yeah. Okay.
But one to look out for.
Score out of 10?
I give this one 8.
8. So that's just based on Scott's, but that's a Flickering Dream score of 8, making it a...
All hits tonight.
So that's actually all hits tonight. It's been a good week at the cinema. Okay.